Are you ready to turn your speaking into a more profitable marketing strategy? Then you're going to love my limited series podcast, Public Speaking Monetization Tips. In each short, actionable episode, I share insider strategies to help you land more speaking opportunities, attract your ideal clients, and confidently sell from the stage without ever feeling salesy. So if you're ready to get booked, seen, and paid, search for public speaking monetization tips on your favorite podcast app and start listening today. Hey, did you know that speaking is the fastest way to grow your business and showcase your expertise? Well, that is exactly what this podcast is all about, where I share tips, tricks behind the scenes on how you, coaches and consultants, can be leveraging speaking opportunities as your best form of marketing. Today is a special speaker breakthrough session, and this is where somebody from the audience has raised their hand and said yes to having a live coaching session with me. So if you would like to have your own speaker breakthrough session, you can stick around to the end or hop on right down to the show notes and book your very own speaker breakthrough session. And today's client who's being coached is Brenda Thomas, and she is also a former student from Inside In Demand's signature speech. Brenda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Always fun to see your smiling face. So, so this is a speaker breakthrough session. I know that we've worked together, not only just taking in demand signature speech, you've also booked speaker spotlight sessions. So actually, let's start here. Share with my audience what you do and who you help.
So I have a day job in corporate America, but I also ha- have a business where I help professional women um, release the BS so that they can live empowered, fulfilling, and impactful lives. So helping them get over their sabotaging behaviors and things that keep them stuck in toxic careers and toxic relationships.
Nice. Very much needed. Very much needed. Okay. So what would you like to get out of this coaching session?
Well, I recently, thanks to you, had a very successful presentation, and I want to strike while the iron is hot. And then it's like it's already been like 2 months, and I feel like not really cooling off, but wondering what's next and what to do and what kind of associations I can reach out to, and maybe how to pitch that same speech, or maybe do I change that topic, the title of that topic? Because it's the importance of failure and it's redefining failure, changing perceptions. Um, is that good enough? Because it does intrigue people when I pitch it. Do I need to refine that or change it? And then where should I be pitching potential places I could be pitching that? And
Okay.
then I have other ideas for other speeches. So if we have time, we'll get into that.
Okay. Let's focus on the fact that you had a successful presentation that you gave within your company. And just to let everybody know who's listening in on this, that what you spoke about, the presentation, had nothing to do with what you actually do for work. It was something completely different, and they loved it. And you got testimonials from it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How many testimonials were you able to get after that presentation?
Um, the one wrote a very lengthy one, which was great, but then I also got some feedback from their survey. So I probably have 15 to 20 um, little little one-liners and stuff.
That's amazing. I want all of them to be on your website. Okay. That's fantastic. And to be able to have a page on your website that is, your testimonials. And if you look at on my website where I have basically testimonials, I have a top section for coaching and the bottom section for speaking. And since you do similar work, you're working with people one-on-one, but you're also doing speaking. I'd love to see you do the same so that we're just directing people to like, here's this page. And I literally just keep adding to it because my goal, and this is my goal for you since you've got 15 testimonials from this one event, is I want people to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. while they're looking at like, wow, this is fantastic. Like that's just reassurance for a meeting planner. So that is one thing. Mm. And I also know that you already got asked to speak it was like next April or May. They were just like, hey, can you give this talk at this event? Perfect. So you're getting
I've
scheduled.
actually two other events. So one internal with my company again with a different group about a different topic than what I normally do. And then at a conference that I actually attended in June, they want me to speak at their conference next June.
That's awesome. I love that. So you are in motion.
Mhm.
They feel like I need more motion, correct?
Correct.
So here's a couple of things that I would do. I would really tap into these relationships. The person who reached out to you and said, hey, could you speak within the company on this other topic? Like, let's have coffee with her. Let's have lunch with her to where else can you be speaking within the organization? But also, who else does she know that maybe is outside of the organization that you could be speaking for? So that's one relationship I would start to tap in on. The second relationship that I would tap in on is the person who you attended their conference and now they booked you for next year. Who else do they know? Now that they've booked you, let's have a conversation with them. Virtual coffee, virtual lunch, like whatever makes you feel more comfortable. But let's deepen that relationship and find out what other events are you booking for.
Okay.
And then the other idea that I also have for both of those, you should also be asking that great question. Who else would you recommend that I speak to?
Yep.
And just see what they say. Who can they introduce you to? Because I am all about building your speaking business on relationships. There's so many people out there so many speakers who just are cold pitching. And those cold pitches go nowhere. You're a podcast host. I'm sure you get like pitches to be on your podcast all the time. And it's just like they're terrible emails. So building really great relationships. The other thing, excuse me, I have a cold from being on the airplane.
Mm.
The other idea that I was wondering about is what professional associations do you belong to?
Yeah, I thought about that because I'm going to one of those in September, October. So I was going to check it out.
So which one is that?
It's it's called Caucus. I've never been to it before. So and I joined so I could get a cheaper rate at the conference.
Okay, great. So you're going to an event next month
In October, I think.
in October. Okay. When you go in October, I want you to do exactly what you did before, but you're going to do it during the conference. Like, just find out, like, hey, who runs this? Never on day one. Like, if it's a 3-day event, like maybe the afternoon of the second day, you can go and find them and just have a conversation and let them know. Give them a heartfelt compliment about the event and what you really are enjoying. And just ask them, like, when do you start booking for next year? What's the process for finding speakers? And then letting them know that you are a speaker. And a couple of your well-received programs are. But that sort of approach might open the door to the conversation, just invites conversation instead of saying, hey, you should book me, because that just pushes people away.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel good doing it that way anyway.
Yeah, because it's just not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, excuse me. So that's what I would do when you attend this event, but also build relationships with the speakers. And, like when I say this, I want you to be building relationships with, you really enjoyed somebody's presentation. It wasn't somebody who was just reading off their slides, and had like 150 slides and they're just, reading them to you. I want you to like, if there's somebody that you really enjoyed their presentation, speakers typically will hang around afterwards and they'll answer people's questions. Like go and approach them and just let them know, I really enjoyed your presentation. I loved this particular fact, just so that they get to know you
Yep.
and you're building relationships with speakers.
Okay.
But it really is when you're building your speaking business with relationships, it's a little bit more of a long game. It's not quick, but it's one conversation leads to another conversation, leads to another conversation. It's one domino, basically knocks over the next domino and so forth.
So the purpose behind building relationships with the speakers is to find out where they're speaking and other conferences they've been at and just kind of go from there or what?
Speakers know speakers, and there's been, well, I'll share this with you. This is my approach. After I'm done speaking for an event, I always let the event planner know, like, the next time you're planning this event, feel free to reach out to me. I know speakers. I have clients who have gone through my in-demand signature speech program. I will refer my friends and students when somebody needs them. And I've had organizations reach out to me saying, this is the sort of speaker that we are looking for. Fantastic. I got like 3 names for you.
Yep.
So that will happen. So that's why I like to build relationships with other speakers. Okay. So what are you feeling so far?
That I need to build relationships. Well, I think the relationship is easier to swallow than saying networking because I just hate networking to network and I hate small talk and all that crap. But I can be legitimately, if I find a speaker that I legitimately like, I have no problem going up to them and saying, "Hey, that was awesome, and I really appreciate you saying this and this and this." So I can do that
Yeah, it's also a
and still
great,
feel good and not feel icky.
yes, it's also a great place to hang out afterwards. So I learned this, like, I've shared with you, I'm a shy girl at heart. And it's not always easy, or it has not always been easy for me to approach people and like extend my hand. But one thing that I realized really early on, being a newer speaker, I would go up to other speakers. And then if you just hang around there, other people come up to talk to the speaker. And now you've got other people that you can talk to. Because once the speaker's done answering their question, they're moving on to the next person. That person's just like, who else can I talk to? And sometimes you're just that friendly face that's just like, "Hi," and they'll just assume that you know the speaker. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I was in the back of the room listening. I liked this part." You just never know who you're gonna end up talking to.
And do you work in a pitch or do you just let it flow naturally, organically?
I love to just ask people like, "So, like, what brings you here? What brought you to this particular session? What do you do?" I always gather information from them before I pull out like, "Oh, because I wanna know, like, do they run a company? Do they run a department? Are they a coach? Are they a solopreneur? That way I know how to basically approach them and what to say next so that it's tailored for their situation. Because I always say you should have, like, a couple of different elevator pitches in your back pocket.
Yeah. And so these conferences that I'm going to are nothing about on the surface what I speak about. But every single one of them could use that little piece of personal development or mental health, mental wellness as part of their curriculum or agenda or whatever.
Mhm. Back in January, pretty sure it was this past January's speaker circle here in 2025, I ran everybody who showed up through an exercise, and I was having them find different conference centers, and I wanted them to do a deep dive into the agenda. because sometimes, because this happened to be one of them, the conferences that we looked up that was in Boston was on HVAC management. Now, nobody who was in this speaker circle had anything to do with HVAC. When I started to show them, here's the agenda for this event, that's where we saw career development, mindset, how to be, I think there was something there on life balance. And so the exercise for each of them was to figure out, knowing what your topic is, how could you pitch yourself for this particular conference, even though like they already had all our speakers, but it was just some exercise. So sometimes the title of the conference is a little misleading, but when we deep dive into the agenda, we're going to see it's more of a holistic approach to these conferences. They're not just focusing on, here's the business aspect of HVAC. We are
And
taking the whole person into consideration.
that's funny because I just was looking at the schedule of events for a big convention center here in my area, and one of the first ones I looked at was elevator contractors, and I was like, okay. And so I started looking at their agenda, and they did have some like continuing education and some um, personal development. And so I wrote down their name and who to contact and stuff to pitch myself there. So it's I would never have thought to do some random weird thing like that, but having experienced some of that is in it, looking at the agendas, seeing where they go. Yeah.
Somebody who attends the speaker circles a lot, her name is Carolyn, and she reached out to a conference that she was attending, but she reached out just to say like, hey, just in case one of your speakers doesn't show up. Well, everybody did show up, but she went to meet them personally and she got booked for the following year. So you just never know. I mean, this is all about building relationship. But since you live so close to a convention center, I would get in the habit of looking them up and figuring out, they've got some personal development. My talk on failure and getting over the BS might be a great fill in. Just get in the practice of reaching out to them and letting them know I'm a local speaker. If you ever find yourself in need because somebody can't show up or last minute emergency, feel free to reach out to me. This is what I speak on.
That's a good idea. I was also looking at a local organization. It's definitely in the US, but there's one here and they have a membership. And how do you feel about joining something that gives you one chance per year to speak to X number of people? And it's like a couple of grand. It's not cheap. It's not crazy money, but you get access to certain people that could open doors. So how do you feel about kind of pay to play kind of things?
That is a version of a pay to play. It sounds to me like if you can get in front of the right people, but you got to be able to get in front of the right people. Well, I don't know if you want to fork over the membership right now, if you want to attend as a guest, if they allow that, like you can go attend one meeting, or, oh, okay, that's what it is, dress for success. Are the right people in the audience?
Well, according to their website, they are.
I would attend a meeting as a guest, even if you have to pay to attend the meeting and get to know who's in the audience, and you'll have to make that judgment call when you're there. So if you're going to do this, I would also don't just randomly attend the very next one. Let's strategically find like, I like this topic. This is a hot topic. Chances are they're going to have it's going to attract really good members, because that's the point, is you want to see who's going to show up at these meetings. Because if you're going to potentially speak, and how many members do they have, and it's something that, they know that this is what happens. It's part of the benefit. So that's going to be a judgment call, but I would want to experience it first before I actually pulled the plug on it.
Yeah, they had a couple of different memberships, and one of them One of them was to actually speak at a luncheon, and the other one was getting acts, either being listed as a sponsor or being kind of spotlighted kind of stuff. But the one I was looking at more was speak at least once at a luncheon.
If there's a really good showing, and if you're going to be speaking, like let's just say like it checks all the boxes, then I want to make sure that you capitalize on that event. I want you to have a videographer and a photographer that is taking really good picture and video of you while you're speaking at that particular event. Is it on a stage, or are you just holding the microphone, standing on the floor? Everybody's just at round tables. There's a lot to consider.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's a pay to play. In 2000, just like you said, like it's an investment.
I mean, it goes to a good cause, so that part doesn't bother me as much. But
I just
it's
want to
still,
make sure the right people are in the audience for you.
yeah, me too.
Because if you just want
Sure.
practice speaking, you might as well just reach out to Rotaries.
Yeah,
And you being so close to a big city, you've got to have some pretty good Rotaries that you can get some great photographs.
yeah. I actually looked at their website for the one closest to me, and I think they had some openings, and so I just need to pitch them.
Yes, let's get on it. So how does all this feel? Do you feel like you have a plan? You've got options, ideas? Okay. What's 2 or 3 gold nuggets that you're walking away with then?
Going back to one of the first things you said was to add all of the testimonials to the website. So as they're scrolling, they're seeing the testimonials. I got to figure out how to do that, but I'm sure I can do that. And then also telling somebody that I'm a local speaker. I think that was really good, that because people do bail and they are looking last minute for stuff. And so just saying, hey, I'm local.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a moving planner's nightmare.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Drenda, will you just share with everybody where they can find you, follow you, and learn from you?
DrendaThomasRichards.com is my website. And then I'm on Instagram, same thing, Drenda Thomas Richards. Have Facebook, same thing. And I have a podcast that's been on pause, but I will be kicking it off somewhere in the future called Taboo Talks. So it's talking about things that people don't normally want to talk about.
Very nice. I love it. I love it. This has been a great conversation. I really think one that a lot of people are going to benefit from, because there are so many opportunities that are out there. We just don't see them. And building those relationships with the people that we have already spoken for, who have seen us speak, and just being able to capitalize on those relationships and build them so that they lead to future opportunities. So thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And if you would like to book your own speaker breakthrough session, stick around.
Are you tired of hearing crickets on social media? Wondering where to get seen by the right people? Or frustrated with the growth of your business? Then the speaker breakthrough session is just for you. During this free 20-minute discovery call, I'll help you recognize where you're leaving money and opportunity on the table. You'll walk away with tips and a strategy to leverage speaking opportunities to get positioned as the expert, visible to the right people, and monetize your expertise. Book your call at speakandstandout.com/SBS for Speaker Breakthrough Session.